Good morning, Breakfast Clubbers. Well, I'm here today in Ilkley, or just outside Ilkley, and I've stopped by here, Moss and Moor Garden Centre, for an impromptu breakfast review. I've got to go in first and see if they'll let me do it, but hopefully, if they do, what's coming next will be a breakfast review. Enjoy! That's right, I was just passing through on my way into Ilkley this morning and happened upon this relatively newish garden centre. I noticed from the roadside that they had a cafe and thought, why not pop in and see if they serve up a cooked breakfast? And what do you know? They do. So I've got all the permissions I need. I'm sat down, I'm excited, and the staff are excited to get my order in too. I've chosen the very aptly named Fry Up, priced at £14, which includes bacon, sausage, mushroom, tomato, eggs, hash browns, black pudding, and a slice of toasted bloomer bread. Baked beans are an optional extra, so I've added them on for an extra 95p. I inquired about fried bread, but was told that this is not available, so we'll be sure to account for that later on in the scoring. I am advised that all the produce is local, with the bacon, sausage and black pudding coming from a local butcher in Ilkley, and the bloomer bread from a high-class bakery in Harrogate. At this point, my interest is piqued, my mouth is watering in anticipation, and I'm ready to tuck in. Is that mine? That was quick. All right. That's great. Thank you very much.
Welcome, enjoy.
Cheers. With the plate now arriving, I'm impressed with the neat layout, especially those soft golden yolked fried eggs perched neatly atop the bloomer bread. I am, however, a little underwhelmed with the quantity of some items, but more on that later on when we get to the value for money. Score for the presentation then, 7 out of 10. Let's start off with the beans, and they're already looking a little different from the usual. We've got a smallish portion in a little ramekin, the sauce is thick, almost sticky, and just a touch cooler than I would have expected, but the taste is great. Score, 6 out of 10. And now for something a little special. Over the last few months, I've had a few comments about doing combo bites. You know you are. So here we are, ready to try our first pairing with the tomato and the black pudding. Separately, both these items are done well and taste fantastic. But when paired together, the juice from the tomato soaks nicely into the crumbly texture of the black pudding, adding another level of moisture and a brilliant taste sensation I couldn't get enough of. Definitely something I'll be trying again at the next available opportunity. Combo score, 10 out of 10. Let's now take a closer look at that tomato on its own. Half-grilled tomato is extremely hot and juicy when cutting into it. A great item, done and presented very well indeed. Score, 8 out of 10. And speaking of juicy, it's time to see how that mushroom holds up. Another item where maybe the portion could have been a bit more generous. That said, this is a decent sized flat mushroom cap with great texture and flavour. Score, 5 out of 10. But what happens when mushroom meets black pudding? Time for another little flavour experiment. Whilst I'm being somewhat adventurous with my breakfast this morning, I dare to try another black pudding combo, this time with the mushroom. Much the same as before, the water from the mushroom mixes well with the black pudding's texture, giving us another burst of flavour I wasn't expecting. Although it doesn't quite reach the heights of the tomato combo, it's still something worth trying again. Combo score, 9 out of 10. Now let's judge the black pudding all by itself. On its own, it carries very well, firm with a delicate crisp exterior. The interior is crumbly without being overly dry and has an excellent savouriness on the palate. Score, 9 out of 10. Moving from rich and earthy to crisp and fluffy now, it's time for these homemade hash browns. These oddly shaped hash browns are, I'm told, made fresh on site, and it shows. The outsides are perfectly coloured and crisped, while the insides are extremely fluffy. The potato is finely shredded, almost resembling mash, and on tasting they give a satisfying melt-in-the-mouth sensation. A great, unique take on the hash brown. Score, 8 out of 10. Next, the sausage. And here's where things start to get a little mixed. A single grilled link, halved, with a rather odd shape, a little thin at one end, which has resulted in that part being slightly overcooked and heading towards dry and burnt. The thicker part fares much better, retaining more moisture. Flavour-wise, it's not bad, but I'm left somewhat disappointed, given the initial hype. Score, 4 out of 10. From there we move to the bacon, and although it's small in size, it's got some nice flavour notes. 2 well done rashers, smaller than average with average thickness, but packed with plenty of flavour without being overly salty. There's some lovely flavour in those crispy fatty edges too. Score, 6 out of 10. Now, the eggs, and they're looking picture perfect on top of that toast. 2 seasoned fried eggs, cooked hot and fast, giving the base and edges a good crisp, while keeping a soft white and runny yolk on top. Personally, I'm not a big fan of crispy whites like this, but I know many are. Both yolks are exceptionally runny and pair beautifully with a hash brown, toast, and a little leftover black pudding. Score, 7 out of 10. Speaking of toast, let's lift those eggs and see how it's held up underneath. This slice of bloomer toast is, I'm advised, lightly toasted before one side is dipped into melted butter for an even glaze. As it's been under the eggs the whole time, I can't really vouch for that process, but it is certainly shimmering when uncovered. Aside from the crusty edges, it's soft, buttery and very fresh. Score 8 out of 10. Now for the all-important question, was it worth the money? With this garden centre just outside Ilkley, I wasn't expecting the breakfast to be cheap, and it wasn't. At £14 for the base, plus extra for the beans and drinks, it is on the pricier side, especially for a garden centre. The difference here is in the quality. There's a definite focus on sourcing local, high-quality produce, and that's evident in most parts of the breakfast. That said, another sausage, a rasher of bacon, and a few more mushrooms would have helped push this score higher. Score 6 out of 10. Before we hit those final scores, a quick reminder, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more honest reviews every week. You can also join our Facebook group where you can share photos of your full English efforts and get the discussion going. Now, let's move on to the overall scores and see how Moss & More stacks up against the rest. We'll just briefly run over the missing items then. No fried bread available today, so that's a deduction of 1 penalty point from the overall tally. After all the calculations then, Moss & More Garden Centre Cafe scores 67 out of a maximum of 100 points. That gives them a final Breakfast Club score of 67%, placing them in the top part of our average rating bracket. Here's a quick reminder of how the top 10 leaderboard is looking, and sadly, although we've had a decent and enjoyable breakfast here, there's no placing for them today in the top 10. So all that's left for me to say now is, until next time, may your bacon be sizzling, your fried bread golden, and your yolks runny. Thanks for watching, bye for now. So that was our breakfast here at Moss & More Garden Centre this morning. What can I say? I really enjoyed that one. A little bit on the pricey side, yeah, but there were some good quality items on that plate. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Bye for now.